A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Day morning and a lot of basketball to get into as the NBA playoffs kicked off yesterday. Will the positive COVID tests at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill tank the plans for a college football season? Also, will the Big Ten reverse course now that we know that there never actually was a vote taken? Or at least that's what we are being told. Welcome into the Sportsocracy at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Check it out, like it, share it, follow it, all those good things. Don't forget to check out the merch store as well. We've got the Because Big Ten merchandise now up in the merch store. Check out the link for it in the description of this video, as well as on all of our social media sites. Again, at the Sportsocracy. This episode brought to you by thesportsocracy.com. Jeremy, go ahead. You know you want to say it.
I hate officials so much. I was on a perfect path to be right last night that the Mavs were going to beat the Clippers.
Yep.
And then Kristaps gets ejected for 2 bullshit technicals. For the love of God, let them play. I hate officials with every fiber of my soul.
I do as well. Kristaps Porzingis picking up 2... Yeah, I'll go with you. Bullshit fouls.
They're bullshit.
2 very questionable technical fouls in the game. The first one after he did not agree with an official's call, and then he punched the air, which is technically a technical foul. Even though everybody doesn't get called for it every time it happens, it still is a technical foul.
It's the playoffs. Piss off with this technically a technical nonsense.
And then the second one came when Marcus Morris and Luka Doncic got tied up and he interjected himself, and yes, once again, technically a technical foul when the third guy comes in to get involved in the action. So Kristaps picking up 2 technical fouls, technically he has to be ejected from the game. So everything was very technical last night in the Clippers-Mavs game. You don't call that foul.
Here's the thing. Technically, I weigh more than you. I'm also 9 inches taller than you.
True.
Technical is ridiculous. And I got news for you. I was 100% right. If you watched that game, you saw exactly what it was I was saying that should bother Clips fans about how this series is going to go. Because they tried to put Patrick Beverley on Luka, and that didn't go well at all. It just went. Pat Beverley had 5 fouls with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Yep.
I think at some point they're going to have to put Kawhi on Luka. That's the only solution that I think Patrick Beverley can't guard Luka Doncic. I don't give a damn how good of an on-ball defender he is. Luka is too much bigger and too much better. Mm-hmm. And if they do not figure out a way to do that, this is going to be a really long series.
I have a feeling that they will make some adjustments and figure out how to keep Luka at bay, because last night, I mean, he had 42 points in the game. What did they say at the end of the game? That he was the first guy to score 40-plus in his playoff debut.
Yes.
So, and he was only like the 4th guy under the age of 21 or 21 and under to score 40-plus points in a game.
And here's the thing. Robbie Wright, I agree with you. You have to know that you already have 1 tech.
Yes.
But you also have to understand how pissed off you are after the first one. Mm-hmm. And then you see Marcus Morris doing what Marcus Morris does and trying to get under the skin of your star. Should it have been Kristaps that went after him? No. Do you eject the second biggest player on a team for that? No.
Should it be on the officials to keep track of who's got a tech and who doesn't?
It should be on the officials to not have 40 fouls in the first half. That's insane. Like, there's not a human on earth that wants to watch basketball like that.
Yep.
No one. Not one. And that game was going so well. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a title fight. And then the referees interjected themselves. Which, it seems like I talk about this. First of all, it feels really good to be talking about officials.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of the second wave or this other bullshit we've been talking about for 6 months. Mm-hmm. But it's so frustrating to see a game that was completely influenced by officials.
Mm-hmm. I'm on Robbie's side on this one. You have to know that you already have one. You got to watch your P's and Q's, dot your T's.
I don't disagree with that. I've told players that 1,000 times in my life. You have to be conscious of your standing in the game. I don't dispute that at all. The first one was god-awful. I mean, that first tech was god-awful. The second one, I understand that you have to, that technically it's a, but you can't tell me the ref doesn't know that he's already got one.
Yeah.
There's no way. You absolutely know that.
Yeah, I mean, and they even went back to check the film on it to decide who was going to get a technical and who wasn't. And at some point, you have to go, well, we need to give Porzingis a tech. That'll make his second. We're going to have to eject him from the game. At that point, as an official, is it on you to go, yeah, maybe we shouldn't kick him out of the game?
100%.
Okay.
100%. It is on you to not directly influence the game. And Mark Jackson said it before. Here's my problem with that tech. Mark Jackson said this perfectly on the commentary of the game. They have to get control of this game. Because what Marcus Morris did was to get under Luka's skin. I played. I've seen me do it. Mm-hmm. You just hold on to the little guy because it's going to piss him off.
Yep.
And Kristaps comes in to legislate that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't let Marcus Morris do it. I get it. And I get everybody saying it's on the player. I get it. I understand that it's on Kristaps to not get the second. But my problem is if you just look at the game, damn near every person that played any form of minutes at some point was in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what I want to watch. I want to watch these two teams because I think this series could be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to see officials influence another game.
Well, game one has officially been officialed as the officials ejected themselves, and that was the reason that it was an 8-point difference in the game. The Clippers probably would have ended up losing that game if not, end up being, an overtime thriller like the first game of the day was yesterday with Jeremy's fighting 2019-2020
NBA champion Denver Nuggets. They showed yesterday why I'm so high on them.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, the action that they have on offense, I've coached this game, I've played this game. I have no clue how you defend it. Because you have a 7'2" brick wall bring the ball down. Mm-hmm. And then he hands it off to Jamal Murray, and whoever's defending him just goes, oh shit. I don't know how I'm supposed to get around that at all.
Yep.
And Jamal Murray can just bury you.
Yep.
Is there a player in the NBA more underrated than Jamal Murray? If you have an opinion, say it in the comments.
Maybe.
Because I'm really asking this question. I don't know the answer. Is there a player in the NBA more underrated than Jamal Murray?
More underrated than, I don't know. When you talk about underrated players, I mean, Kyle Lowry comes to my mind.
And Kyle Lowry's great.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray's better.
Yes.
Jamal Murray's better than Kyle Lowry's ever been.
Okay.
Ooh, that didn't sound like agreement.
You're probably right, but based on, I think the only difference is their age right now. The fact that Lowry is 35 years old and the fact that Murray's 25. There's a decade difference between those guys.
I agree with that. Kyle Lowry's been in the league forever, and he's a great player.
Yes.
I just look at the talent in Jamal Murray and go, my good gracious, that kid's good.
He's a fantastic player.
And you mix that with Porter Jr. and Jokic. Mm-hmm. I mean, and they're doing this without, yes, Donovan Mitchell had 57 last time. I get it. They're doing this without Gary Harris and without Will Barton, who would be the principal guys guarding him.
Right.
And so they've got Jeremy Grant, who's really long, which is kind of the problem because he's nowhere near as fast, trying to stay in front of Donovan Mitchell. That's going to be a problem. Did you see Jamal Murray's video after last night?
I did not.
I didn't think about this. So being in the bubble, one of the things that I didn't think about, Jamal Murray went to dinner and Donovan Mitchell was sitting at a table on the way back to his hotel room. And so he takes out his phone and does I think it was an Instagram live video of his face and then shows Donovan Mitchell going, he just put up 57 on us and lost. which made me love Jamal Murray just even a little bit more.
Yeah, the Denver Nuggets, they are very scary. And yes, as you
I
talked
don't know how you
about,
stop
using Nikola Jokic in that pick game is just unbelievable.
Well, first of all, he's one of the best pick and roll players in the league, and he's 7'2", and he can be both sides of a pick and roll.
Yep.
That's I don't know how you defend that. Plus, you got a kid in Porter who I still maintain. I'm going to go one step further. If you told me I had to pick a player under 22 years old that was going to have the best career, Zion's 1, well, Luka's 1, Zion's 2, Michael Porter Jr.'s 3. I'll take him over John Morant. I'll take him over anybody else you have to say.
Okay. That's some bold endorsement there.
In the comments, tell me who I'm wrong about.
Yeah.
You tell me who it is that I should think higher of than I think of Michael Porter Jr. If it's and feel free to say John Morant. Just know that I absolutely have a response to that.
Right. Trae Young.
Stop that. Is there a more overrated player in the NBA than Trae Young?
You better stop talking about my boy. Just saying.
He loves Trae Young.
I do.
I don't.
I don't know why. I just do.
I don't like guys that can't defend anybody and just shoot constantly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of that. I've never been a fan of that.
Steph Curry, you're not a fan?
Steph Curry can't defend anybody, but Steph Curry is also a really good point guard that's had really good talent around him.
Yeah. And if
you're comparing John Morant to Steph Curry, I'm going to tell you how stupid you are really fast.
No, I was going to say Trae might get to that point.
Oh, stop that.
You don't think so?
Hell no. You're talking about one of the greatest point guards ever lived, and you're saying, well, Trae Young might get there. Well, I might grow wings and fly around this room, but I don't like the chances of that happening anytime soon.
He's been in the league for 2 years. And the kid's like, what, the 4th highest scorer in the league?
Again, good God, you worry about points too much. Like, for the love of
points
God,
matter.
I don't care.
It's
how
kind of
many
the whole
points
point
they
of
score.
basketball is to score more points than the other guys.
I don't give a damn how many points they score. Hell, Zach LaVine scores more points than LeBron. Does that make him better?
No.
No. It means he's on a shit team. And Trae Young is on a shit team.
Exactly. You put him around some better players, and who knows? The sky may be
He
the
wouldn't
limit.
shoot nearly as much, I can tell you that much.
That's
because
very
currently
true.
he's playing with the starting 5 of the Atlanta Hawks looks strikingly like us.
135-125. Nuggets beat the Jazz in overtime yesterday in the first game of the playoffs. And then you had the Toronto Raptors, who just put a beating on the Brooklyn Nets. Actually, Jeremy decided that he was going to go for the Nets plus the 10 yesterday against Toronto.
And I was headed down a path of being right.
He was.
Because I said Toronto's going to blow them out.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Nets are going to backdoor cover. The Nets got it down to 14.
They did. They got it down to 11 at one
Oh,
point.
did they? I didn't see that.
Yeah.
They got it down. I'm sitting here going, I am going to have hit this. Perfect.
They were down by 30 in the first half at one point, and then ended up coming back around the late third quarter. They cut it down to 11, and then just ended up getting blown out 134-110. But welcome back, playoff Fred VanVleet. That dude is, I don't know. I guess he's just got another switch that he can flip when it comes to shooting the basketball in the playoffs. In his last 10 games, he's shooting 57% from three-point area.
He's an underappreciated player.
Mm-hmm.
I still look at Toronto and go, I don't know how you're going to beat Boston, and I don't know how you beat Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. I've heard all the hype, and I'm not trying to undersell them. I'm really not. My problem with Toronto is I don't know how you beat teams better than you. Because the matchups are off, and I could be wrong. I've been wrong before.
I think they're a very versatile team that can mix up their looks, and they could just about match up with teams to handle them, not to dominate them. That's the whole thing about the Toronto Raptors, that they're this scrappy collection of guys that are just going to be a tough out for everybody. And if Fred VanVleet keeps hitting 8 3-pointers a game,
which he's not.
which he's not, well, I mean, I know he's not going to hit 8 per game, but shooting 57% from 3-point.
He's not going to do that either.
He's done it for the last 10 postseason games he's played.
Okay. He's the greatest 3-point shooter ever lived. apparently.
In the playoffs.
No, he's just been very, very good the last few. Nothing about my opinion on Toronto has changed. And nothing they can do against the Nets is going to change.
How much is he going to get paid?
A shitload.
That's the
a
thing.
metric shitload.
Fred Van
the problem
Vliet.
is he's a free agent after this year, right?
Yep.
So he's going to be coming up against, on the bright side, a lot of teams are going to have cap space. Nobody's going to have any money, but
Right.
you're going to be getting checks that they say, don't cash this till Tuesday.
Right. Could very well happen, but Fred Van Vliet scoring 30 last night. 30 and 11. He was the first Toronto Raptor to get a 30-plus, 10-plus game in the playoffs, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, he's a really good player. There's nothing the Raptors are going to do against the Nets that's going to make me do anything but go.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do.
You should have beat them.
That team sucks a lot.
Yeah. The Celtics and the 76ers, 109-101. Celtics win. Jason Tatum, 32 and 13. What did you see out of the Philadelphia 76ers?
About what I expected to. A team that didn't have a lot of direction. I mean, when your two leading assist guys are a power forward and a small forward, your offense is running strangely.
Yes.
Horford and Embiid don't belong on the floor together, but now they're stuck. An hour before game time, they're talking about starting Matisse Thybulle, which they probably should. They have 7 players, and the Sixers have 7 players, and none of them fit together correctly. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward being gone for Boston, that hurts their second wave. Pauly Shore, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the second wave. But Enes Kanter is just going to pick up the slack there, I think. The Celtics are just so much deeper. Marcus Smart. You got Marcus Smart coming off the bench. Marcus Smart would be easily the starting point guard of the Sixers.
Right.
And this kid's, he's coming off your bench. They just have too many pieces. Boston is a matchup nightmare because no matter what you do, they have a solution for it. Any team in the East, they have a solution for how you want to play them.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia, this is not going to be a long series. They tried. I'll give them that. They tried. But those pieces they're just too mismatched. Not having Ben Simmons to initiate the offense is a nightmare. Having to run the offense through Tobias Harris is not ideal. It's Orlando. It's Orlando 4 years ago. That's what this reminds me of. They have a much better player in Embiid, but they had Vucevic in Orlando. So, it's to me they might steal a game. Might. And I don't feel great about that, but they might.
I don't know how they go at Jason Tatum. I really don't. As I was watching the game last night, I think it was, a few times, I think it was Thybulle that switched on Tatum, and you just immediately looked at the two of them and went, that's not going to work. That's not.
Thybulle can defend players that are much bigger than him.
Yeah, but
Jason
is just
so long.
Right. Jason is just he's a force to be reckoned with, and every time he went to the bucket and they switched on him, it was just he either made the bucket or he got fouled and wound up on the foul line. And I don't know how you're going to contend with that as the 76ers. They're obviously missing Ben Simmons. Not that he would be the linchpin to turn this series the other way or switch the favorite the other way. But he would at least help. And I don't know how they're going to be able to contain Jason Tatum throughout this whole thing. And then if everybody else does their jobs, like you said, they're just too deep.
Here's the thing. We had 4 great games. There was basketball on all day yesterday. It was fantastic. And we have this for the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
I'm in. I'm all the way in. I'm happy about this. I think it's going. I don't think it could have gone any better. I don't think the NBA could have done this any better. The product on screen's good. The product, you haven't had to worry about any positive tests or anything like that. Are you scared with their families coming back in the next round?
I'm not scared. But I mean, you open up the possibility that you're going to be bringing something into the bubble, and I know that everybody's going to be tested when they come in and all of that. But I just don't know.
It bothers me way less than I thought it would.
Yeah, whenever you poke
the way
a hole
they're
in
doing
the
this
bubble.
makes way more sense because all of the family members are being quarantined. I do think it's funny they had to define a long-term relationship and explain that that's not somebody you met on Twitter.
Yeah. But what are you gonna do? You have these guys who, like I've said before, Stephen A. Smith has been on this bandwagon with me as well. You got these guys who have these, they have needs. They're young men in their primes. How are you gonna keep them down? Well, you're gonna have to. And I don't see any problem with that. Some people said, oh, they should be able to bring whoever they want into the bubble. No. We have $150 million riding on this little thing. And if somebody comes in and starts spreading this around and things go haywire, I mean, there's no chance they're shutting this down at this point.
Devin, our chief medical correspondent, said the ratings still suck. You don't know if they still suck because they haven't come out yet. And I'll bet you they're much higher yesterday than they have been through the bubble.
Yes.
Games that don't matter, teams that don't care, you don't know who's playing. You know what happened yesterday? Every star played.
Yep.
Except Mike Conley, who went home to have a child.
You can't say anything against that. Come on.
I can do anything I want to.
Come on.
Little part of me'd be pissed.
Really? For the birth of a child?
Little part of me'd be pissed.
Yeah.
If I'm Donovan Mitchell and I'm looking at how close we were yesterday, and I'm not saying that it's a justified response.
Okay.
I'm saying I'm putting myself in the head of Donovan Mitchell, who just went out and scored 57, having to play point guard, which he's not.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Conley's
treading on thin ice there.
what,
Treading on thin ice.
what you're telling me?
You
We
can't-
worked the whole season. You've been quarantined in a bubble, and literally the night before the playoffs start, and you're saying there wouldn't be a thought in your head. Not saying it wouldn't immediately go out of your head.
Yeah.
Not saying you would ever say anything about it. But I guarantee you, Donovan Mitchell was looking around going, man, it'd sure be nice if old Mike was here. It'd be a lot easier to guard Jamal Murray if we had Mike here.
As a dad, I cannot blame anybody for wanting to be there to experience that
And don't get this
emotion.
wrong. I'm not saying that I blame him. What I'm saying is, if you got Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert into a quiet room where no one could hear them, and they said, how you feel about old Mike leaving? They'd go, and in their head, they'd be thinking, sure be cool if Mike was here.
Yep. Look, I don't know why. If it were me, I probably would have worked up a plan to induce.
Well, and
That's a
I'm
thing
not
that
even.
we
I don't
can
even.
do.
That is a thing you can do, and I'm not saying that was even an option. And again, I can't
Maybe not.
emphasize this enough. You do you. You know, that's I have children as well. I totally understand wanting to be there for the birth of your children.
Yep.
What I'm saying is that now there is no shot that he comes back before Game 4.
True.
And I guarantee you, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are sitting there going, "We're in trouble." Mm-hmm. All right. I didn't want to ask this, but I'm gonna.
Okay.
If they're the 1 seed, does he leave?
No.
I don't think he does either.
No.
And that's what nobody has wanted to say for the last, 3 days?
Right.
If Utah's the 1 seed, if he's the point guard of the Lakers.
Well, maybe.
Well, and
maybe because they'd be playing the 8.
and they
it'd
wouldn't
be-
necessarily need him.
They wouldn't need him, yeah.
Let's say this was the conference finals.
I get it. No, absolutely not. There's no chance.
That's where I'm at.
There is zero
That's-
chance of that happening.
And again,
And
I'm
maybe I'm
not
wrong.
blaming the man for leaving the bubble.
And-
I'm just saying there's going to be a little resentment whether it ever comes out of somebody's mouth or not.
I think circumstances as they are, he thought maybe I can get away, I can experience this, I can make it back within 4 days or so.
I'm just throwing
Only
this
miss
out there.
2 games.
When they're down 3-0, I don't know how receptive they're going to be to seeing baby pictures. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yes, I understand what you're saying there. I will never knock a guy for wanting to experience that, be there for the birth of your
I'm
children.
not
There's
knocking it.
nothing like it. But when you've got the opportunity to make some noise in the playoffs and you're going up against a team that some people are saying they're going to be world champions.
I'm some people. I'm not some people.
I think, and this is your last shot. This is your last shot at a winner if you're Mike Conley.
Well, and I can't emphasize this enough. I don't want it to be misconstrued that I'm saying he shouldn't have gone. Mm-hmm. That's your own personal decision. What I'm saying is there is going to be a little resentment in that locker room when he shows back up and they're down 3-0.
Right. I don't know the personal medical history of Mike Conley's partner, but you would think maybe a week before the playoffs started, you could have induced labor and been
I'm
there.
I'm not even going that path. But Patrick Holt just said could have just FaceTimed in the delivery room. Not his first kid, just throwing it out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not judging. I was there for the birth of all three of mine.
I was going to say maybe he was there for the births of all his other children, and that would be a story that would come back on you later in life.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying if Utah had a better chance to win this series, I'm not so sure this would have gone the same way it went.
You're probably right. But again, best of luck to you, Mike. And I hope the baby is good and healthy. I hope that he or she is the most beautiful thing on the planet, which I know they probably will be to you. But they could have used you yesterday. We can state that for a fact.
Would have been awful nice if Mike was here. That's all I'm saying.
Gordon Hayward, yes, did end up coming up with an ankle injury. We have not heard anything about an MRI. He was apparently supposed to have one last night at some point to determine whether or not this is going to be a long absence for him. If it is a long absence for him, how big of a hit is that to the Boston Celtics? Because I think it's
in this round.
It's a little sizable.
In this round or for the long haul?
No, like if it's a thing that he's going to be gone for weeks.
If he misses the Raptors series, it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia, it doesn't faze me a drop. It doesn't bother me in the least if he misses Philadelphia. But yeah, not being around for Toronto, that could hurt because that's one of the. He would have been isolated a little bit by OG Anunoby, but it would still help to have him to facilitate the offense. Nobody knows that offense better than Gordon Hayward. So, I mean, I think it would have an effect. Here's what I've noticed about injuries, and Gerald McCoy's injury yesterday just kind of reaffirmed this for me. Mm-hmm. You can typically tell how serious they are by how quickly they tell you how serious they are. Because if it's real bad, they can usually tell that pretty quick. Mm-hmm. Gerald McCoy then do it within an hour.
Yeah.
So I won't be shocked if he misses the rest of this series. I'm just hopeful that he's not going to miss the rest of the playoff.
I think they will take a hit if he has to miss extended time. Hopefully, it's not going to be the case. I mean, this is a guy that remember he had the gruesome leg injury when he first arrived in Boston.
I like to not think about that.
Missed a year, and he's just – you hate to see it. You hate to see good players end up just continuously injury-riddled. But that seems to be the thing with Gordon Hayward. He misses a lot of time, it feels like.
Well, that's always been the knock on him is that he can't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
The talent has never been questioned. It's just he can't stay healthy to save his life.
Yeah. Yesterday was a lot of fun. Today's going to be a lot of fun as well, as we've got 4 more NBA playoff games on the schedule for today. If you're just tuning in, I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. It is the Sportsocracy. TheSportsocracy.com is the website. Follow us on all the social medias. Like, share, and follow. Tell all your friends about us and how much fun we have every weekday morning here at 9 a.m. We are now dual streaming to the Facebook and the YouTube. And don't forget to check out the YouTube channel as well. We encourage all subscribers across all platforms. So check us out on YouTube at the Sportsocracy as well. We are now 4 hours away from this very moment to tip off of day 2 of the NBA playoffs. You got the Milwaukee Bucks going up against the Orlando Magic. If you wanted to place a bet on the Milwaukee Bucks to win this series, you got to put down $15,000 to win $100.
1,000. 100. You're right.
$100.
You're right.
Plus 15,000 or minus 15,000.
That's a lot.
Yes. If you wanted to, throw some money away, it's It's a plus 3,000 bet on the Magic to win this series.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out on that.
But don't do that. Don't do that at all. Giannis will be leading his Bucks to a quick victory.
4-0.
Yep.
They're a 12-point favorite today, and I won't be shocked if it gets bigger. With no Jonathan Isaac and no Mo Bamba, it takes away some of the length, some of the ability to guard Giannis. This will not take long. The games today, it's like a really weird dinner party because the appetizer sucks. The salad ain't great. Main course is pretty good, and then the dessert's going to be on time.
You're not interested in the Heat and the Pacers?
Not really. I don't see any way Indiana. I don't see any way Indiana can hang with Miami.
But I think it's worth tuning in just for the
Oh,
fireworks.
I'm gonna watch it. What fireworks?
With Jimmy Butler and T.J. Warren.
T.J. Warren's not in Jimmy Butler's class, and we all know it.
Oh, I know.
And Jimmy Butler just came out and said that.
Oh, I know. But see, to me, that's the draw. That's the draw. You've got everybody trying to build up T.J. Warren like he's the greatest thing since sliced bread in the comeback of the bubble.
You want me to tell you how that's gonna go? There's not going to be fireworks. Nobody's throwing punches or anything like that. Stop it.
You think?
It's not happening. It's not happening.
They got close at one point.
You're not getting ejected in this series. You're not.
Okay.
Because if you do, you are screwed. T.J. Warren throws one punch, misses one extra game, they're down 2-0 like that. Here's how this is going to go. Because T.J. Warren's a very, very predictable NBA player. He's going to try to show up Jimmy Butler, and it's not going to go well. I could see him going 5 for 19 from the floor. Something like 14 points. He's a total non-factor. His team's minus 20 while he's on the floor because he's trying to prove a one-on-one vendetta. Jimmy Butler did this on purpose. He did this because he knew exactly how T.J. Warren would respond to it. Oh, you're not going to call me out. I'm Bubble T.J. Warren. Watch this shit. And no, you're still T.J. Warren. You're still not good at basketball. The Phoenix Suns still looked at you and went, no, we're good.
Yep.
We're fine. I think we'll be just fine without you.
Remember they had a run-in back in January between the two of these.
And how bad was he against Jimmy Butler the other night?
It was bad.
Yeah, and that's what he's going to continue to do. Because Jimmy Butler's an elite defender and T.J. Warren's not an elite player. To me, this series is over and maybe Indiana steals a game.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to have to get really lucky to even do that.
Well, I mean,
I could see Miami blowing them out 4 times.
Yes, I could as well. You take Bubble T.J. Warren out of the equation, which Jimmy Butler will make sure to do, because now this is a personal grudge match for him to just see how much he can make T.J. Warren look like a fool.
Yep.
On the court, and so we are going to see prime Jimmy Butler locked down defensively on T.J. Warren, and then it's going to be up to the rest of the Pacers to try to outscore the Heat, and I don't think they can do it. I really don't. Malcolm Brogdon and Oladipo and what you got?
I mean, they're okay. There's nothing to write home about to me.
So I think that's going to be fun to pay attention to at 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then you got the Thunder and the Rockets.
Thunder in 5.
Really?
I don't even think it's close. I really don't.
Yeah, without Russell Westbrook, that's going to hurt the Rockets.
Wouldn't have cared if they had him. How are you going to stop Steven Adams? Steven Adams is going to have as many rebounds in this game as he wants. And they're not going to take him off the floor because they don't have to. This whole let's play a lineup that's 6'6" doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I mean, it'd be one thing if, it was Robert Covington and I'm trying to even think of who it could be. It'd be one thing if you had 5 3-point shooters out there. You don't. You have to leave P.J. Tucker in there or you get manhandled down low.
Yep.
P.J. Tucker's not a great shooter. So Steven Adams he's going to have to come out on him, but not really. And all right, let's say he doesn't. James Harden's going to come down and jack 3-pointers all night long. And Steven Adams, there won't be an offensive rebound to be had. This is a terrible matchup. Having Chris Paul, now Chris Paul can focus on James Harden. I don't know exactly who you're planning on putting on SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he has a huge series. Please let it be James Harden. Please let it be James Harden.
He'll score 30
just so I
points a
can
game.
have a visual of, I've said I like SGA better than I like James Harden.
Right.
If you tell me one of these players wins a title in their career, I'll go with SGA, and it's not close. Not saying he's a better player because James Harden throws up more points. I'd rather have SGA than James Harden.
Right.
And it's really not all that close to me.
No, James Harden has always been a cheap trash player to me.
He's modern day Allen Iverson.
You know, he can fill the buckets. He can fill that rim
Scorer.
up.
He's a great scorer. And he's a sieve on defense, and he's a terrible teammate. Mm-hmm. I'm good.
Every now and then he may come up with a good steal, but he didn't mean to. He does not make his living on defense, and half the time he doesn't even show up on defense.
No.
So
James Harden, I've said this on this show, I've said it on the ESPN show. I get in more fights online about James Harden and Russell Westbrook than any two players in any sport. Because I don't understand what it is people see in them. I do not get it. Oh, they're so Matt Lumsden, perfect comment. James Harden is the next Carmelo Anthony. As a guy that was a Knicks fan that whole time and watched all of that with Carmelo, you're 100% right. Because you're a losing brand of basketball. Mm-hmm. And now you brought in Russell Westbrook, who just reaffirms it. I understand he's crazy athletic, and he put up stats that are comparable to Oscar Robertson. He's not Oscar Robertson. He's not. He's a stat accumulator. And now you have two of those on the same team that's playing this stupid, gimmicky brand of basketball where they don't have anybody taller on the floor than me. That's not going to work. And when they get run out in 4, there will be nobody that lasts harder than I do. I have gotten so much shit from James Harden, Russell Westbrook fanboys over, well, you're so wrong about them. Okay, show me anything they've ever won. They had to have KD to get to the finals. What have they done since? That's what I thought.
Yep, nothing. Absolutely nothing. 9 o'clock tonight. It's going to be your as you called it, the dessert for this evening's menu.
It's going to be fantastic.
The Lakers against the Portland Trailblazers. LeBron and AD showing up against Dame Lillard and Yusuf Nurkic. Jeremy just hates the fact that Yusuf Nurkic is a thing.
He's not a thing. He's not a thing.
He's not a thing.
No. He's not a thing. And when he plays 20 minutes tonight because Anthony Davis gets him in foul trouble, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to laugh on camera at him for 30 solid seconds tomorrow. Just know that's coming.
That's a long time. You think you can keep up a laugh for 30 seconds?
Absolutely. At this, yes, I firmly do.
Damian Lillard comes in. After watching Donovan Mitchell score 57 yesterday, watching Damian Lillard go off, since 2 weeks ago, I'm convinced that somebody is going to break Jordan's 63 record.
I'm not sure. I started thinking about this yesterday after you said it to me. You could absolutely be right. I could absolutely see somebody coming in and just going, and it could be Donovan Mitchell, because I have zero idea how they're going to guard him. Mm-hmm. I haven't. I watched the whole. Stephen Tao said I sound like Stephen A. waiting on the Cowboys to lose. You might be right. However,
Damian Lillard, though, what's the Lakers' answer for Damian Lillard? How are they going to keep him in check? How are they going to keep him from breaking this record?
They're not.
Exactly.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him do whatever he wants to do. And you put LeBron on Carmelo, and you put Anthony Davis on Yusuf Nurkic, and you go, and now what are you going to do? Mm-hmm. What now?
And hope.
Okay, Damian Lillard has 50. Woohoo! You have negative matchups on every other spot on the floor.
I hope to God that C.J. McCollum's back isn't.
You mean the most unpredictable player in the NBA? Mm-hmm. I've been waiting for you to figure that out, and you haven't done it over a week, so I'm finally just going to come out and explain it to you. As somebody that watches a ton of NBA, anytime you count on C.J. McCollum, he's real good for throwing up like a 3 for 19. And I could see him doing it in this, because Danny Green's going to be on him.
Mm-hmm. And that will
All
matter.
right, just let Alex Caruso defend Damian Lillard. It's fine. Let him score 50. I don't care. His empty 50 points mean not shit to me. Absolutely does not mean anything to me. Because your negative matchup the rest of the way, just the only thing you have to do, don't do what the Nets did. Don't try to double him. Mm-hmm. Let him go. Just let him do what he's going to do. Because the rest of the team can't beat you. And we know that definitively. If Damian Lillard can beat you 1-on-5, more power to him. I'm gonna bet he can't.
I think Damian Lillard is obviously he's the what do they say, the straw that stirs the drink for the Portland Trail Blazers.
He's a great player,
and
he's a sieve on defense. And I just watching him against Brooklyn. Here's what none of you Blazer homers have wanted to say. He's the reason they almost lost to the Nets. He was the reason. Because every time he came across half court, if he so much as had a glimpse at the rim, he chucked it.
Yep.
And you know what? Everybody on the team knew that. So the offense stagnated, and that's the reason you let one of the shittiest teams I've ever seen in NBA playoff basketball almost knock you out.
And this is, of
and
course...
you think LeBron and Anthony Davis can't do that.
This is, of course, the night where LeBron and AD have to prove that they can bring it all together.
Oh, I think they're going to. Oh, you remember what we talked about this earlier? You remember what Toronto did to Brooklyn? Mm-hmm. I could see that happening to the Blazers tonight.
Really?
I could see them getting beaten. I haven't seen a line. Lakers by 6. I'll take the Lakers. Not even close. Don't even think about it. Mm-hmm. And I'll take the under. 230 is way too high. The Lakers don't play like that.
No, they don't. I mean, hell, they had, was it 5 games in the bubble where they didn't even score 100 points?
Yep. Here's the thing. The Blazers have to win one very specific way, and the Lakers are not going to play that way. The Lakers are going to dictate the pace because they have a guy in LeBron James that is very disciplined, whether you like him or not. Mm-hmm. I understand the Michael people have always had an issue with LeBron. Here's the thing. He can absolutely keep the game on the pace he wants it to be at. And they want to play slower because they have 8 guys that they feel good about. But they feel like the 40 minutes that Anthony Davis and LeBron are on the floor, they're better than you. And that's how they're going to win this series.
I think they'll win the series, absolutely. I don't think it's going to be as much of a blowout as Jeremy thinks it's going to be.
I think tonight is going to be an ass-kicking.
It might be, and I'll come in here tomorrow, and I'll be hanging my head and saying, you know what, you were right. This just isn't going to work. But I don't know. I think Damian Lillard can do enough to steal a couple of games for the Portland Trail Blazers in this series. We'll see how it works out. Yesterday, the SEC schedule came out.
It did.
So it gives us more hope for the college football season. It is full steam ahead for the SEC.
I shared it on our social media last night.
Yep.
The Big Ten sitting in a puddle crying, it's too dangerous to play. And the SEC said, we ride it down, bitches.
They are going hell or high water, as I have said routinely throughout this whole thing. Their schedule officially came out, and I am really looking forward to Georgia, Alabama on October 17th. I think that's going to be one of the best ones. That's going to be one of the best weekends for the SEC.
I get so less hyped about schedules than the average sports fan. I looked at the schedule last night and went, oh, you mean they're playing exactly who I thought they were playing? Oh, they play them in that order? Oh, okay. I was going to watch it anyway. I don't really give a damn what day it is.
It doesn't give you any hope, though. Something to look forward to. That's the benchmark.
I've never thought that. I have said from the rooftops the SEC's playing football.
Yes.
I'm stunned the Big Ten's not. I've never questioned football. I bet I've been asked that question. I bet I've been asked, are we going to play football 500 times in the last 6 months? And I've answered it the same way every time. Yep. Yep. And the SEC just came out with a schedule and said, we're playing.
Yep.
Big Ten. And anybody that doesn't understand that was a shot at the Big Ten, I can't help you. That was Greg Sankey going, you can't figure it out. We can. We figured it out in a week. Because they had I feel pretty sure they had no intention to put the schedule out this early.
Yeah.
Then the Big Ten cancels and they go, haha, watch this. Because, see, Kevin Warren went unilateral against the Power 5. That's something we haven't talked about as much on this show as we have on the afternoon ESPN show.
Right.
Kevin Warren broke from the Power 5. Mm-hmm. See, when the Power 5 model started, it was intended to for all 5 Power 5 commissioners to work together to a common goal. And then Kevin Warren, in 1 year, went, screw that. And you got to remember, this is a guy that replaced Jim Delaney. Who's a guy that made the Big Ten what it is. He was the commissioner for 40 trillion years. Mm-hmm. And this guy comes in unilaterally in one fell swoop and goes, nope. And Larry Scott went with him, and nobody was shocked. Larry Scott is the closest thing to Michael Scott in the history of college athletics. Office
Best
reference.
boss ever. Best boss ever.
Office reference. And Greg Sankey absolutely just took the opportunity to go, okay, you want to play? Let's play. I'm stronger than you are.
Yep.
I will squish you like a bug if you want to keep screwing with me.
They knew. I mean, but they know that they're better than them. They know that they have a better plan.
But see, I don't think Kevin Warren knows that.
Oh, no.
Here's what Kevin Warren thought was going to happen. And this is, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole here just solely because we haven't talked about this, and I realized this yesterday. As the SEC is, we put out the first week on the Feinbaum show, and then we have a show on SEC Network to release our schedule. Why would they do that? It was a great big fuck you to Kevin Warren. That's what that was. Do you agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree.
That's 100% what that was. Because you unilaterally decided to go your own way. That's fine. Power 5, that's done. We're done with that now. Because the SEC, ACC, and Big 12 have said, you two are against us. We're partnered up together, and you're against us. And you know who that's going to hurt? The Big Ten.
The Big Ten.
The Big Ten's now stuck with dancing with the girl that brought you.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, you picked the girl that didn't really want to be here. These three have now come together, and I'm telling you, if you look at the SEC schedule, it's really easy to figure out that they're trying to get two teams into a playoff.
Yep.
Look at Carolina's schedule in the ACC. There's no doubt, if you look at what they're doing, it's all posturing. Now it's every man for himself, which we always claimed it was, but it really wasn't. Mm-hmm. Because you had Greg Sankey and Jim Delaney and John Swofford that were trying to do what was best for the entity on the whole. Then Larry Scott shows up, and he's a pain in the ass and been a pain in the ass since the minute he got here. Then Jim Delaney steps down, and they give the job to Kevin Warren, a guy who has no experience in this, and I'll be 100% honest with you, wasn't qualified. Mm-hmm. And he's showing it. And now he's broken this model, and the SEC is going as rogue as they can possibly go.
Well, I think Kevin Warren came into this, and he thought that he was going to be the leader. He thought he was going to set the stage.
Bullshit. He didn't think he was going to be a leader of anything. He thought he was going to pressure the SEC into doing what he wanted to do. And the SEC said, screw you. We don't listen to you. Think about this. How did he become what he is? What's his background?
He had a top job with an NFL team.
You're right. How did he get that job? What is his degree in? Law. He was a lawyer.
Okay.
So he's sitting here going, look at all the possible lawsuits and all this shit, and I'm the smartest guy in the room because I know law and the rest of you don't. And I'm going to save you from yourself. And so I'm going to cancel, and as soon as I cancel, you're going to have to because public pressure is going to cave on you. Mm-hmm. And guess what happened? Not that. Public pressure said, screw you, Kevin Warren, screw you, Big Ten, screw you, Pac-12. And Greg Sankey went, that worked out nice for me, didn't it? So all you Ohio State fans and all you Michigan fans that are pissed off at the Big Ten, come on down and look at our schedule. Look at all these games we got. Look at all these teams we have. And we're going to show you 1 week at a time, and then we'll show you all of it. And look at this carnival of fun shit that we've got for the fall while your conference is sitting at home on their ass. That's 100% what that was.
He's like the used car salesman. It's out there just, come on down, get your deals today.
And guess what?
I don't know,
the Big 12's getting ready to do the same thing.
You may be right. Maybe Kevin Warren came at this from a position of
There's
power,
no doubt
thinking that he was going to do that.
That's 100% what he was trying to do.
Okay.
Yeah, because and I have grimaced and pushed back on every person that said, "Oh, they don't want to be first, but they don't want to be last." No, I think they do want to be last. And Greg Sankey and John Swofford are currently showing why they've been longtime tenured commissioners, and Kevin Warren's a guy that'll be lucky to make it to the end of the calendar year. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing about commissioners in college sports. The good ones last forever. The bad ones get churned through in no time. Kevin Warren tried to be more than he was. And I'll be honest with you. He's a guy that I wish I could buy him for what he's worth and sell him for what he thinks he's worth. And Greg Sankey just showed that. He went, "Oh, you think you're the big you think you're the big dick in the locker room? I don't think so. I have all of the toys. I have every team. I have the biggest TV deal, and you think you're going to tell me what to do? Watch this."
And we're still trying to figure out what the Big Ten actually did, because now we've got two people coming out that are in positions of power. One, the Minnesota president, and the other one, the athletics director from Penn State, Sandy Barber, who both are saying, we didn't really even take a vote. Now, it was reported that there was some sort of a vote taken because we got a vote count on it, 12-2, and we were told that Michigan State and Michigan were the ones that were dissenting in all of that about pushing back the season or canceling the fall season. But now we've got people saying, no, there never was actually a vote taken in the Big Ten, so where did the decision come from? Was it Kevin Warren that unilaterally made that decision? Was he just taking the temperature of the room and then made the decision for everybody? Or was there
there's no
an
doubt
unspoken agreement?
The fact that you had an AD from Penn State come out and say, I don't know if there even was a vote. Mm-hmm. So what you're telling me is one of the most important people in this decision doesn't even know if the vote happened. Mm-hmm. The reason for that is because you have a lawyer running your conference that went, oh, God, it's so dangerous. What if they sue us? And it's going to be so bad. And he shit his pants and he made a shitty decision.
Yep.
And now it's going to cost him coaches. It's going to cost him players. It's going to cost them on the recruiting trail. It's going to cost them when they try to negotiate a TV deal. It's going to cost them everywhere they look because you made a bad hire as your commissioner. You replaced Jim Delaney, who was a fantastic commissioner, with a guy that was in over his skis. And he's shown that since the minute he got this job.
Yep. And I think he thought everybody was going to follow, and he was going to be the heralded guy. He was going to be seen as...
He tried to make a name for himself.
Right.
And so, I'm the lawyer, I'm super smart, and he got dumbass Larry Scott to go with him. Mm-hmm. And in my head, the only thing I can see is Dwight Schrute with Michael Scott following right behind him. And everybody else going, look at these two dumb shits.
That's exactly what that was.
That's all I can see. Every time I think about this is just the whole office looking at it going, And back to what we do.
Is the SEC Jim?
Yeah.
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 I don't know that show well enough to go with
the ACC's probably Pam.
And the Big 12 is the big bald guy.
Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Yeah. I think that's it. I think
well,
we've now come up with
Andy, and I have to go Rudy toot 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 toot. I don't want to do that. So.
Well, you just did it. So thanks for that. We appreciate that. Yesterday, news out of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
Oh, you're going down this path. This is totally not the path I wanted to go down.
Why?
We've done this story. This story's been covered to death. It's real simple. Carolina's doing all online learning.
Yes.
That's actually good for football. You understand that, right? It stuns me how many people don't seem to be getting that. Mm-hmm. If there's no classes to go to, the players only have to go to practice and back to the dorm room.
Yep.
That's a positive.
Yes. It makes it more safe. But the optics of it are flipping everybody out. The fact that there are now clusters of cases around the UNC Chapel Hill campus, and they have gone to online learning only. They're not kicking kids off of campus. You can leave if you want to. You can go back home and do your virtual classes from wherever you're from. But if you don't want to, you don't have to leave campus. And so
and most of the kids
are
not.
Right, most of the kids are going to stay in their dorms. They are going to be doing their virtual classes inside the dorm rooms.
And the fact that Democrats like you think this is good. Let's give you more free time, and you'll just sit in your room and twiddle your thumbs, I guess.
Because it's not safe.
Democrats.
The UNC athletics director, Bubba Cunningham, released a statement yesterday that said, we are still expecting to play this fall, and we will continue to evaluate the situation, despite the fact that there have been, over 130 positive tests among students in the last week, the first week of classes that have been on there. But of all the tests administered last week, 13.6% returned positive, which was an increase from 2.8% the previous week. So everyone is looking at these numbers and going, "Oh my God! See, this proves that we can't do this."
Everyone's not, because I'm not.
You know what I mean? The public pressure is growing against college football and against UNC Chapel Hill. And UNC Chapel Hill's looking at this and going, We knew this was going to happen. We knew that when we had students come back onto campus that there was going to be a risk of the spread. And we're going to do what we have to do to contain it and maintain our position in playing football.
Yep. None of this is surprising. It was every bit predictable. We have a couple minutes left. I want you to defend your stupid sport.
Baseball?
Mm-hmm. Fernando Tatis hits a grand slam in a blowout yesterday, and who was it, the Rangers?
It was the Rangers.
They got their feet was hurting. He hit a home run.
They
were
did.
up by too many.
They did. They were up, 10-4, I think was the score when Fernando Tatis came up with the bases loaded, and the count was 3-0, and they threw a fat one right down the lane, and Fernando Tatis tattooed it, put it over the fence, and ended up being a grand slam home run. You know, I love baseball to a degree. There are certain things in baseball that I just try to come to grips with.
Here's my question. His manager said he missed a sign.
Yep.
What was that? What is the sign in baseball of he just threw you, he damn near underhand threw that. Just take that one. Bun it. Hell, bun it with the bases loaded. You morons. You want to know why people like me don't care about your stupid sport? Because we were up 10-4, and that's too many. Because it's his Texas homecoming, because that's where he came from.
Yep.
Piss down the road.
It's the same
They throw
thing.
you a meatball, knock that thing 500 friggin' feet.
No, it's the same thing as in football. It's viewed as the same thing when you're up by 3 touchdowns with 5 minutes left on the clock in the fourth quarter. You don't start chucking 60-yard bombs. And it's the same way here. Same thing in basketball. You're up by 20 with a minute and a half to go. You don't keep chucking up threes just to run up the score. And so when
This is not to run up the score. What do you want him to do? Bunt?
No, the gentlemanly thing to do is to take the pitch.
Let's hear a little chatter.
Right.
What are we, rabbits?
You get the 3-0 count on you. The bases are loaded. You're already up by 6 runs. Even though you see the fat pitch, you're not supposed to jump after it. And
you're up 6. And you understand they had to hit again, right? Like you get that's the difference in baseball
right.
and you know the sports that matter is that the losing team is usually the last one to bat.
Mm-hmm.
You get a shot to come back from this.
Well, no,
do you realize how stupid you would have looked if he'd have just let this go and then they gave up 7 in the 9th and lost?
Oh, absolutely.
That's stupid because baseball.
Look, again, it's one of those things. I'm glad Fernando Tatis missed the sign because the manager
knocked the cover off.
The manager, Jace Tingler, said I gave him the take sign. He apparently missed it. He tattooed the pitch that came right down the middle. When he came back to the dugout, he got a little bit of a bittersweet welcoming back into the dugout. Good
Baseball's
hit.
the only
Way
sport.
to go. You missed the sign, though.
Baseball's the only sport you can do the greatest thing in your sport. Hit a grand slam and the manager goes, should you have done that? I guarantee you Steve Kerr's never looked at Steph Curry after he hit a 3 as the shot clock was expiring going, should we have done that? Maybe we should have just thrown that one in the crowd.
Yeah.
Hell, just hand the ball back to the official and give it back to him.
Just
Screw
hand
it.
it back to him.
Don't even shoot it. Just hand it back to him. We're up by 15. Who cares? Just give the ball back to him.
Look, Fernando Tatis is one of the great. He's one of the great young players in the game, and he is going to be a guy that we look at in a few years and go, this guy is a superstar. He's going to be a superstar in baseball. For as few superstars as baseball has, he's going to be one. This is just one of those times where maybe you shouldn't have swung at the fat pitch. I don't have a problem with it. Run up the score all you want to. But apparently, yes, some of the tried and true in baseball have a problem with it. Jace Tingler, yes.
Baseball's the only sport would ever have a manager named Jace Tingler.
The Rangers also gave a little payback by throwing at Manny Machado. They threw one behind him on the next one, and that sent the message.
The most baseball thing ever. I don't like what you did, so I'm going to throw my toy at you. Because baseball.
Oh, the pageantry of baseball. It is one thing that keeps me coming back over and over again, and I am all here for it. I like all the stupid rules, and I like all the silly retribution that goes on in the game. It's the Sports Tank. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene.
It's the first time you've done that.
What?
It's not the Sports Tank. Sports Tank's this afternoon.
Damn it. Sportsocracy. This one. Sports Tank this afternoon on ESPN Asheville. You can check it out everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. ESPN Asheville, 3 o'clock every afternoon. The Sports Tank with Jeremy Greene. Now, I am Tank Spencer. He is Jeremy Greene. And this is the Sportsocracy. Follow us at the Sportsocracy on all of the social medias. Don't forget to check out that merch store and use the promo code NBA Bubble. Save 10% today on your Because Big Ten merchandise or whatever else you want to get. Your Roy Cooper made me wear this mask. We've got all kinds of stuff up there. Fanny packs are back. Did you know that? Fanny packs are a thing now. We've got those too. Check it out. The link is in the description of this video. We'll see you right here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in the Sportsocracy. Almost did it again. Jesus Christ, get us off. Holy cow.